friends, welcome back for part 3 of our 3-part series on creating a tarot channel on YouTube. This is a Q&A portion. So if you have any questions about starting your own channel, whether it's tarot related or not, feel free to pop those questions into the chat. I'll do my very best to answer them in terms of, equipment or operating YouTube or whatever. I'm here for it. I want to thank everyone for their support. Make sure that you watch part 1 and part 2. Yeah. Debbie's in the house. Hi, Debbie. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, my friend. So, part 1, just to recap, we did it was sharing my story, how my channel came to be. Part 2 is how I navigated my anxiety, as I have diagnosed anxiety panic disorder and depression. And so I shared, navigating YouTube with having that anxiety. And part 3 is the Q&A. So feel free to share any questions that you might have in terms of, starting a channel or anything of that nature. And this is your opportunity to get some free advice, if you will. Make sure to hit the thumbs up. And I was saying before that, I really don't like to say, please, don't forget to share, subscribe, and all that stuff. We have to say it. It's important. Well, we don't have to say it. I feel it's important to say, so I say it, even though I don't like to say it. But if you really want to help the channel, share the content with a friend. If you're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, share it right now, right? Stick it up there and ask people to come over and join us. And that's how the channel can gain some traction. So, hi, Kathy. Thank you so much for coming back, you guys. This is great that you've been here for all 3 parts, and I really, really appreciate it. Hi, Gypsy JJ. So, anybody have any questions in regards to starting a channel, whether it be tarot related or not, or, maybe you're interested in reading oracle cards or whatever? Let me have them. I'm ready for you. We're in the middle of a heat wave here, friends. Oh my goodness, it is so hot. It is staggeringly hot. 104 today was our high, and this is the mild day. Tomorrow is supposed to be 41. So we have an extreme heat warning in effect. And all the poor kiddos go back to school this week here in Canada, typically. So I feel bad for the little kiddos having to navigate that heat on the first day back. I just went out to the living room, and Rosie is doing much better, and I thank everyone for all their kind comments. She went to the vet on Saturday. It was such a week last week. She has an irritated bowel, and so she got some special food, a probiotic, and an antibiotic. So she's doing much better now. Thank goodness. I'm so grateful. I hope that continues. Because last week was a lot. And anyway, so I went out into the living room just to say hi and to check to see how she is. She's out there with my husband. And she jumped up and down like I had been on vacation. It's only been an hour since she's seen me. But anyway, you never get over their excitement to see you. It just makes you feel so good. You know what I mean? Hi, Ivana. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm so happy that she's doing better. I was really concerned about her. Because they can't tell you that they don't, how they're feeling or what hurts or whatever, but I knew something wasn't right. Anyway, so nobody has any questions. Everyone's just here wanting to hang out. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Kathy. Okay. So I've heard many people start their channel with just, a phone or, whatever. the first thing that I want to say is there's lots of great how-to videos out there that can be really, really useful. Unfortunately, it takes time to navigate through all of those how-to videos and, take the information that resonates with you. Now, I do it the way that is comfortable to me. So I do 98% of my stuff on my PC, which is where I'm sitting here now. And I have a camera that has a microphone in it. And that is what I use to make my channel come to life. I use the streaming service of StreamYard, and there is a paid version and a free version to do all of my pre-recorded videos as well as my live broadcasts. I find it easier to navigate. And also, if you want to have a guest, StreamYard will allow you to do that. YouTube, when you go live on YouTube, it can only be yourself, unless that's changed since when I signed up. I guess the amount of equipment is what you feel comfortable with, or what you have, if that makes sense. I encourage everyone to do what is comfortable to you. So in other words, it would be really nerve-wracking trying to start a new channel and then having to learn all new stuff at the same time just to be able to put the content out, if you understand what I mean. There's lots of theories out there about how to put your content out, and everyone does it differently. But I'm kind of an old school gal, and I prefer my desktop, so that's where I've put my focus. I don't understand people that can use their phone, because my eyeballs are old and I couldn't see it, so I choose not to do that. Ivana says, we'll stick this up here. I use an iPad and use my phone to do shorts. I don't always have all the options like a regular computer, but I'm able to still get a lot done. Definitely use StreamYard and Canva. Yeah. So, and that's the ticket, right? There's so many different ways to do it, and it really depends, I also think, on what it is that you're trying to do. So let's say that you're trying to put out pre-recorded content where you are wanting to not show your face, for example. Then you might want to have a setup like this, right? Like an overhead camera that kind of shines down on the desk. This is a fairly inexpensive situation that I have here. This is an arm, right? That was about, I think, $65 Canadian. And then I have my secondary camera attached up here. These cameras have microphones in them. You can also put your phone on that attachment as well. So I'm not sure if that answered your question or not, but in terms of equipment, a camera, a microphone, and a device is really what you need, right? Hi, Ron. Welcome back. Yeah, I remember I don't remember what show it was that I was watching, but I was watching a show one night and somebody was talking about them starting their channel. And I said that I had spent about $1,500 to $2,000 at a certain point, whenever that was that I said it. And the people in the chat were like, what? How? And like, because I didn't have anything, right? I didn't have tarot cards and oracle cards, and I didn't have a camera for my computer and all of that kind of stuff. So I started from scratch. And that's another thing, speaking of that question in terms of the equipment, to make sure that you have a budget for yourself and that you purchase responsibly and that you don't put yourself into debt to try to do this thinking that you're going to get rich quick, because it doesn't work that way. At least in my experience, it doesn't work that way. So I set a budget for myself. I didn't really adhere to that budget, I have to be honest, but I try to be cognizant of the fact that I have a budget and I can't go over and above that, right? Cards here in Canada cost an awful lot of money. Like an average deck is $35, so it's a lot of money, right? Ivana says, I like that overhead camera. I'm going to look into getting one. I try to use my phone with the stand to do overhead stuff, but then I don't have a camera on me. Yeah. And that it's hard to navigate. It really is. Like I've said that a few times, that that having something hanging over your head is not easy to get used to. It really isn't, friends. You spent about the same, Ivana? Yes, I do. So I'm going to turn my overhead camera on so that you can see Kathy. So it's going to, I'm going to take your comment off the screen and hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to just push this up here a bit. Okay. So you can see on my camera, it's got like a ring around it, right? And if I turn it on, there's the light, and it has different settings on it. So I have the white light, I have the sort of more like the yellow light, and then it goes off. Right? So this camera I got, it's a Giga, if that's how you pronounce that. I got this off of Amazon. It was really reasonable. I have two of them. One is on my computer that you're watching me through now, and then the other one is here, which is my secondary camera. They have built-in microphones and the lights. So now I'll be honest, I don't often use the light on the camera, whether it's watching me or if it's the overhead, because I find that it causes, especially with the cards, a glare. So I have a lamp that's beside me, right over here. I have my light above me that has 3 different settings on it. If I back up, you can see that. Right? So this is the white light. That's off. That's the warm light. And then that's the warm light, but in a sort of like amped up a little bit. So there's 3 different settings on this light. And then I have a light behind my computer. Just like desk lamps, right? I have a really big monitor. My monitor is like the same size as my television, so it's like 29 inches or whatever. So my monitor is huge, which helps me. Hi, Gerald. Hi, Fleck. Hi, Rose. Yeah, the StreamYard is expensive, but I do everything on StreamYard, so I love StreamYard. I think StreamYard is great. There are some features that they are coming out with now that aren't available to Canadians for whatever reason. Like they came out with a podcast thing, for lack of a very technical term thing. And Canadians can't use it. Doesn't work for us. So, okay, Rose. Do I just need to do shorts then? So, I know a lot of people that do shorts. I know a lot of people that they do really well with shorts. That is not my experience. I have done a couple of shorts. I don't feel comfortable doing shorts. I don't know why. But if you go with, most of the how-to videos out there, they will tell you that is a great way to bring attention to your channel. So every once in a while, I reconsider my thought process on doing shorts. Ivana says, yes, I try to do some indirect lighting as I get a reflection in my glasses. Yeah, that's a real thing for you, for people that wear glasses. Absolutely. Ivana says that you can pay monthly on StreamYard. Now, I lucked out when I first joined StreamYard. I got a discount. There is the free version of StreamYard, and it is, you know, in my opinion, I used it for a while, and it was very, very effective. It did exactly what it needed to do. There's a lot of features on it. You can have up to 6 people, including yourself, on the screen, which is more than enough, because most times it's just, you know, 1 or 2, possibly 3. That's funny, Ron. That is funny. Ron only wears shorts in the summers. Now everybody knows. Ivana says I do shorts, and I do not have the hours needed to get monetized to try to do the videos that are longer. So that's a thing, right? So YouTube constantly is changing the requirements that one needs to get their channel monetized, right? Or for other features. Like when I joined, as I mentioned in the last video, you needed to get 500 subscribers to get your community tab. But before me, it was like 750, right? You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time to be able to be monetized. That's a lot of hours of watch time, friends. Like, that's a lot of hours. A lot of hours. So you could get 1,000 subscribers, like, quickly, but it'll take you a year to get the 4,000 watch hours. Right? So there's that. And then when you do get monetized, as my channel has been monetized, and I have no problem sharing this because I think that most people would be surprised. So my channel is now monetized, and so you'll see those ads that come across my channel. That happened in August. It is September, and I haven't received any money from YouTube because you need to keep a $100 balance in order for them to pay you. So it's like a $100 float, and anything above that. So whether you guys give me super chats or super stickers, or everybody watches all my ads, or whatever the case may be, I haven't seen a dime of any of that money. I'm not trying to talk you out of giving me super chats or super stickers, but I haven't seen a dime of it. So there's that. Oh, it is very limited, the free one now. Here's the thing with that, with the monetized, okay? And I wanna say that. I wanna say this in a way, and I don't want anyone to misunderstand this, okay? I come from the school of not saying never, because my circumstances could change tomorrow, right? So that's that. So whatever your intention is when you start your channel, that's fantastic. But if you get to the point where your channel is monetized, like you could have said, or I could have said, when I start my channel, I'm never going to monetize. If I ever get there, I'm never going to get monetized. Well, all of a sudden I'm like, well, why shouldn't I get monetized? Right? I could say, I'm never going to offer memberships. And now all of a sudden, you know, I say, you know what? Maybe memberships would be a great thing. So what I'm saying is be open to it, right? Because and there's a reason why I say that. Specifically in this community, I think there's a whole lot of blame and shame that is spread around for people that do monetize their stations or their channels. And I don't think that's right. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's accurate. You know, the whole notion that a spiritual person should not you know, get money for doing a reading is a little archaic, if I have to be honest. And so, you know, it's a service like anything else, right? It takes time, it takes effort on the reader's part to buy, you know, the cards and take time out of their day to be able to give a reading. And so if that's the way that you can show appreciation, then why would you not want to do that? You don't have to do it. There's no have to. But if you have the ability to do it, meaning myself as the channel creator, if I have the ability to put that up there to allow you to have the opportunity to say thank you in that way, and you want to say thank you in that way, then great. I don't think there should be any shame or blame associated with that. What is going on, you guys? The cats are freaking out back here. I'm not sure what. Okay. Hi, Bims. So Ivana says, if you have a short that gets 10 million views, you can be monetized for 3 months as long as you have 500 plus subscribers. I'm not that interesting to get 10 million views. Haha. Well, like I said, never say never, right? Ron says that YouTube takes almost 30% of the super chats. Yeah. Bim says I pay premium on YouTube. Does that benefit you too when I watch? That's a really good question, Bims, and I don't actually know the answer to that. I don't know how that plays out. I know on your end, it just removes the ads. So I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a great way. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, talking about part 2 a little bit, when we set our expectations for our channels, I don't think it's wise to be like, oh, you know, I'm going to have 500,000 subscribers within the first year and whatever, right? Going to make all kinds of money. Don't set yourself up like that, but be flexible that you could, you know, move or change. I mean, maybe just starting a channel is overwhelming in itself and you don't want to even think about, you know, doing other things. You just want to like start the channel and then allow yourself to be flexible and grow as the channel grows, right? I mean, monetization wasn't like even a thought in my mind when I started my channel. I mean, why would anyone, why the idea that I would even have 1,000 subscribers seemed absurd. If you had asked me then. So now that I have put in the hours and I have the subscribers, heck yeah, I'm going to monetize. Why wouldn't I? If I can get a little bit of money back to help pay for StreamYard, which, as Ron said, is almost $300 a year, or my internet, or a deck of cards, why would I not do that? Of course I'm going to do that. Ivana says, I have heard that it doesn't matter if you get a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It doesn't affect your channel. Do you know if that's true? Yes, it is true. So originally, like when I started, if someone came into your channel and gave you a thumbs down, it actually did something to your channel. Now, if someone gives you a thumbs down, it acts as if it's a thumbs up. So it's not taken in the context of an approval or a disapproval, but what it is done is taken as someone gave you something. You know what I mean? So even showing up, it's like leaving a comment or like a subscription, if you understand what I mean. Hi, JR. How you doing, love? Thanks for being here. Yeah. Yeah, Ron says, honestly, it's been over 2 years and have not made that much money. I'm doing to help others. Yeah. Yep. I think that, again, you know, we have to be honest with our expectations and in those terms. And that's why you'll have a lot of readers like offering, you know, free readings and memberships and other ways to help sort of generate some income, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because it's up to the people to decide who they want to support and how that support looks to them, is what I want to say. Like even with that, even with the private readings, I mean, there's so many scammers out there stealing people's content and going through people's comment sections and hijacking their accounts, and call this number and pay me $30 and get a reading. Like, you just have to be so careful about stuff like that. Know that I am never going to leave a comment that tells you to call a number and pay me $30, for example, in advance to get a reading. That's not how I operate. So, and if you're not sure, then check back and make sure that you ask the reader, because the reader will tell you 10 to 1 it's a scammer. Yeah. Kathy says, yes, I've seen a bit of shaming on those who do paid memberships. I say power to them. I joined a couple of memberships and was happy to show my support for their extra time and content. I mean, listen, if you can, if you're interested, like, maybe, I mean, I've thought about it. I mean, not too distract about what we're talking about, but this sort of ties into what we're talking about. Okay. I happen to be really good at creating thumbnails, according to other people, right? And I know how to navigate YouTube in terms of, like descriptions and, the inner workings of YouTube. I'm not a genius by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got a pretty good handle on it. And I've helped a few people, like fellow readers, along the way, creating thumbnails, or, I'm a member of a couple of people's teams on StreamYard. So then when I go live with them, I can help them by starring the questions and just sort of keeping things on the up and up and the straight and narrow. And so, I guess where I'm trying to go with that is, I've thought about maybe I should offer a course. Maybe I should offer a course and where I could teach people how to do Canva or to do StreamYard, because maybe following a video isn't the way that you resonate, or whatever. And then I thought, well, maybe I should just, offer that service and get people to pay me and I'll do it for them. And then I'm like, but do I really want to, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, I happen to be good at it. People want me. I mean, I've done it for like 4 people. So, right. Ivana says, have you found that there is a better time or day to post videos so that you get the most views? Well, for me personally, Ivana, that's a great question. But for me personally, I post my videos at the time that seems to work for me. And I've played around with it in the past, like in the beginning when I first started my channel, because I've always put out like a daily read, right? I've always done that. So I've played around with it a little bit, just within myself. If you sign up to one of those outside programs like vidIQ or Buddy or whatever, you can pay them to tell you when is a good time to post. YouTube has a graph within the YouTube studio that shows you when your audience, so based on your subscribers, there's a graph that shows you when your subscribers are on Monday through Sunday 24/7, and it shows you when they're on, a little, a lot, all the time, etc. And so using those two things, that's why when I put my videos out, I find that 4 a.m. Eastern is an ideal time for me to post my videos. And to back that up, if I put a video out at 4 a.m. and then I put one out at 9 a.m., people don't watch my one at 9 a.m. at all. Like it's as if it didn't even exist. If I put that video out at midnight, no one will watch it. 4 a.m. is like my magic number. Now that I've said that, hopefully it stays that way, universe. Don't change it. Vonna says, I don't mind joining a membership to get the extra content. I have found some of them to be really excellent. If not, I just stop my membership. No big deal. And that's the thing, right? Like, you can stop your membership at any time, which is great. Rose says, I am a gal who can change parts on my truck. Some things I pay for, like getting my AC system charged and checked, changed out windshield. A branch hit it. Common sense. And see, and that's great, Rose. Like, you totally, I mean, your channel would do amazing. Bims said, one thing I do is if I don't have time to watch, I have the iPod playing so it benefits the YouTuber. Well, that's very kind, Bims. I mean, I think people would be interested in that, and I think you should give it a shot. I mean, throw it up there. What the heck? Nothing wrong with that. Do you know what I've been recently fascinated with? To your point, Rose, and this may surprise you because it surprised me recently, and I don't even know how it came up on my feed. I think I seen a short or something on YouTube. Was a farrier video. So a farrier is basically like a blacksmith / hoof repair person. So, right, they look after the horse hooves and the calf hooves and cow hooves, and I've been like literally fascinated. Watch them every day. Amazing, just absolutely amazing to me. Such skill and craftsmanship. I mean, can you imagine working at a job where you are bent over the entire time with, the potential of 1,000, 1,600 pound, animal who with one movement can knock you unconscious and send you, 16 feet across the room? It's amazing to me, and I am completely fixed on it. Watch them every day. Absolutely amazed. So you just never know. You just never know, right? Oh, that's great, Bims. I love that. Well, you see, that's the thing, Bims, and that's part of it, right? What you just said there. I think that that's the only thing I'd be able to do on YouTube. Laugh out loud, and there's too many of them already. Do you know how many tarot channels there are on YouTube? Do you know how many? Thousands. Hundreds of thousands. If you go right now to YouTube and go into the search bar and type in hashtag tarot readings, all one word with the S, there's 9,000 videos that use the hashtag tarot readings. Then you stick in hashtag tarot reading without the S, there's like 91,000 of those. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of tarot readers on YouTube. So don't anybody allow yourself not to think that you don't have a voice or a message, because maybe it's, something about you. Maybe it's your accent. Maybe it's the way that you look. Maybe it's your sense of humor. Maybe it's the maybe it's the kind of vibe that you have in your background. Maybe you're like rustic. Maybe you're doing it over, like a fire pit or something. Like whatever. It's going to resonate with somebody, right? Blessings. You're so sweet. Okay. Flex says, I'm always having to look up how to do something. Never saw a woman on a video. There you go. Rose Blue. Just do it, my friend. Ivana says, I just watched a video on how to change out the handle on my handle of my sliding door. Without the video, I would have totally screwed it up. There's a trick to it, and now I know how to do it. I could have helped you with that, Ivana, because my father, that used to be his business. But it's good that you looked it up, right? When we were redoing our house, I mean, friends, can I just tell you that I would go on YouTube and be like, watch it, and then I'd say to my husband, I totally know how to do that. Let's go. Kathy says, I found myself binge watching videos of someone jet washing tiled floors. It was so cathartic, right? There's another one where they're doing carpets, like big Persian or like Turkish. I don't know if they're antique, but like big, huge carpets. It's just something about it. They're taking it and it's filthy, like disgusting, filthy. And then all of a sudden, when you see the color of the carpet actually start to come through, so there's more, clean carpet than dirty carpet. It's just amazing when you start to see the water change colors, and now you can only see clear water coming out of the carpet. There's something. It's like the sun just came out. It's beautiful. Over 8 billion people on the planet. You will find an audience if people want the info, and you post consistently. Well, I think that I don't want to disagree with you, friend, and I don't want to discourage anyone. I think there's a little more to it than that, but finding your audience is really hard. Like, that is hard, and I am not one of those people that have mastered social media. Actually, I just closed my Facebook account because, I'm just being honest, right? I started a Facebook profile as my channel. So not my personal stuff, my channel. If I put a picture of my cats and my dog up there, everybody's like, oh my God, like it. I put a poster up of this show. Nobody even says anything. So it became like a make work project for me. And I was just like, there's so much negativity on Facebook. You look something up and the next, for the next 3 months, you're getting that ad constantly. And I'm just like, whatever, I'm over it. Hi again, Linda. Thank you for coming back, my friend. Bim says, you are the first one that I ever watched, so I always watch you when I can. Well, you're very kind, Bims, and I'm thankful for your continued support. I appreciate it very much. It means a lot to me. Hi, Cheyenne. Thank you, Linda. Much appreciated, my friend. I'm glad that you popped in to say hi. Ivana says, just saying that my husband didn't watch the videos, so he put the handle that he was working on backwards, so we had to redo it. Don't you love it? Yep. The how-to videos are a great way to know how to, rather than just doing something, now you understand why you're doing it, if that makes sense. You can use notes, you can write it down so that, if you ever have to do it again. Like, for example, my cats are constantly walking on my keyboard. Like at night when the house is asleep, they're all over this space. And how many times that I will go to type something into a chat or an email or whatever, and I go to hit my question mark, and my question mark is gone. I don't have a question mark now. It's like a I can't remember. Ron, if you're still here, what is is it an accent aigu that is the backslash over top of an E? I think that's what it is. But anyway, so my question mark is gone, and I have a giant E with an accent aigu, and I'm like, fantastic. This is super helpful. Not for me. And then I have to, but I finally got smart and wrote myself a little note, so if it happens again, I can figure it out, and I now I know what to do. Hi, Nancy. Thank you, Ron. Yeah, it's I don't know. And I guess the point is, like, you know, you don't have to be tech savvy. You don't have to know. I mean, friends, when I was, I don't know, like 12, 14, whatever the hell, I don't know how old I was. Computers came out, like when I was a teenager and computers came out, it was the Commodore 64. The whole idea was to make it sing, and then once you made it sing, it was like time for garbage because there was nothing else to do it. So I wasn't born in the computer age. Everything that I know about a computer, I have taught myself based on, previous jobs that I've had. That's it. That's all. My husband didn't know anything about computers, and now he can build websites. It's not everybody's thing. And just because you don't have, because you don't feel like you're tech savvy, it's like anything. If you do something in a repetitive form, you can learn it. And as long as you can do what you need to do to get your videos out, that can be done and achieved in a fairly effective and easy way. Now, I just want to say, and I don't want to throw you under the bus, Ivana, but do you remember the night that I tried to help you post that video up? Do you remember that night? That was some kind of fun, that was. So I will let you know that I don't edit any of my videos. None of my videos are edited. If I do a pre-recorded video and I don't like it, I delete it and I start over. I don't edit any of my videos. Yeah. We were saying that before. People were asking questions about what type of equipment you use, and everybody uses something different. Like, I'll be honest, if I had to do this channel on my phone alone, I wouldn't have a channel. I wouldn't. I can't see. I mean, the screen's this freaking big. I wouldn't do it. I am a PC girl. I am at home at the PC, and all of my stuff is where I need it to be. You go to the phone, and it's completely different. And that's why I was making that mention to Ivana. I'm not trying to throw her under the bus, but we were trying to do something that I had already helped like 3 other people do, and for some reason we could not figure it out. And it's because she was using the iPad, and so what I was saying was where it was is not where it was, because she wasn't using the same thing that I was using, if that makes sense. So we've eventually figured it out. Yeah, absolutely, Ron. Absolutely. And absolutely, Nancy. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't edit anything. Now, I will tell you that StreamYard has just come out with a new feature, and it's very recent. It's only within like the last couple of weeks, and I don't know if it's available on the free version, but on the paid version, when you're doing a pre-recorded video, you can now pause it. So, the dog starts barking, someone comes to the door, the cat jumps up on the desk, whatever the case may be. I can pause the video and resume, when I can. So I think really that, the biggest thing is, people having fear coming in front of the camera. And it's funny that that is such a fear for a lot of people, because for me personally, doing pre-recorded is more fearful than doing this live. That may surprise some of you. It's because I don't have your energy. You know what I mean? I don't have your energy sort of feeding me. If that makes sense. Yeah, I find StreamYard so helpful. I mean, it's really, really easy to navigate. And because, like when I first tried to go live on YouTube, oh my God, you guys, every time I went live on YouTube, I was in the live and had another live scheduled every time. And people didn't know where I was, and people were like looking for me, and then I was trying to go back and forth, and I don't know how I did it. I have no idea how I messed that up. So if I pressed the button to go live right away, then no problem. I was where I was supposed to be. But if I tried to schedule something like in advance, oh my God, I'd have like 3 live streams going at once. And so it got to the point where I would set it up and then I would leave it sitting there. Like I was afraid to touch a button. And you got enough on your plate. You shouldn't like operate from a place of like, almost like fear, right? That you're going to do something wrong. StreamYard is so easy to schedule. And so I guess my point is, and I don't mean, I'm not sponsored by StreamYard. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, because I have worked with it the most repetitively, I have used it for 97% of my videos. It just, now it's like, I could do it with my eyes closed. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't be afraid to try, right? Yes, you are still figuring out Simulcast. So I have a question for you guys. Okay, now I've asked this question before, and I'm asking it for a reason. Because, the whole point in me doing this series, if I'm being honest with you guys, is I want to know how you feel. I want to know what you think. I want to try to be helpful. And whether you're starting a tarot channel or you're not starting a tarot channel, I think that it will be useful. I am at a complete standstill with my channel in terms of its growth. It seems to have, I'm in one of those stop moments, and I've been there for about 2 months. And it doesn't seem to matter what I come up with, what I'm reading on, what I'm trying to create. It just will not shift, no matter what I do. And I don't know. Do I do more? Do I do less? Do I do more pre-recorded? Do I do more lives? Do I do more collaborations? Do I do less collaborations? Focus more on the wellness? Do I do more, like what? What is it? What do you want to see? What is it that you want? You know what I mean? I honestly don't know. No, you're not electronically challenged, Nancy. You just need to work. Here's the thing, right? You need to work with what you've got. And like I'm a very creative person. And so I used to come back here every day with my cup of tea, and I'd sit back here and I'd play for hours in Canva. Right? For hours. It's still challenging for me, and I've used it. Like I've said this before. When I come up with a show idea, like one of my crazy readings, or even for Achieving Wellness, I get an idea, I go into Canva and I start to create the thumbnail, and that's when the idea really like starts to come alive, and I'm like yes, or I'm like no, it's not coming together. If I told you how many thumbnails I have sitting in Canva right now, you guys would be amazed. Canva is super easy to navigate once you know how to navigate it. So what I'm saying is keep practicing at it, right? Repetition, as I said before. I've heard about the Zoom, and there are some people that I know that use Zoom for their shows, and they always seem to have issues with it. At least that's my experience. Oh, thank you, Cheyenne. That's very kind of you, my friend. I appreciate that. Flex says, Kelly, so many questions, few answers. Now, what do you mean by that, love? Do you mean based on what I just said? Rose, I say you just turn the camera on and get going. So like Ron, for example, was saying to me one night that that he didn't know how to use Canva or something. I don't know what it was. One of the nights when I was on with Ron, or Ron was on with me, and we were talking. And so I went into Canva and I created him a thumbnail, which is the thumbnail that he uses for all of his shows. And I just sent it to him. He didn't ask me to do it. I don't even know if he liked it or not. I just did it. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I'm saying that because I enjoy it, and so to me, I find it easy. And I don't mean to dismiss anyone who's saying that they find it difficult, but the only reason that I find it easy is because I literally have spent hours every day in there. So keep at it is what I'm trying to say, right? Nancy says, I will keep trying, Kelly. Eventually I'll get it. Absolutely you will. Absolutely you will, Nancy. Kathy says, how did you create your intro opening? I have so many different openings and so many different intros, and I create all of those on Canva. I use Canva for all of that. I use it for all of that. Flex says that, Kelly, you're a great reader. I always get something out of it. Oh, thank you, Flex. Very kind. Appreciate you, my friend. At Rose Blue needs to start a channel. She absolutely does. I say you just, the next time you go out there to do something on your truck, you just grab your phone or your camera or whatever you use and just go for it. And yes, Ron does use it all the time, and it always makes me happy whenever I see it, because, you know, it's like I know that you appreciate it, and that makes me feel good that I made you happy. Flex says, Kelly, you were thinking out loud. What's the best way to live? Yeah. I have been backing up a little bit in the lives, and you guys will notice that over the next coming few weeks that I am backing up a little bit over on my lives. I sort of am at a place where I feel like I need a little bit more balance in my everyday regular life, and I'm not going anywhere, so don't worry. You will still see me all the time because I will be on all the time with my pre-recorded content. But you will see over the next coming weeks that I'm decreasing my lives a little bit. But like not this week. So 3 times tonight, which really I'm counting as one show. Thursday in the afternoon with Nancy Jean doing past life readings. Thursday night, I will be back with Achieving Wellness. Friday afternoon, I'll be on with Richie from Longman Tarot. So This week I'll be everywhere. No. Yes, all you did was add a heart to it. Absolutely. And Nancy, listen, like I'm open to help people if I can. If you guys get stuck or whatever. Oh, thank you, Fleck. Yes, Ron is the real deal. Ron is the real deal. So for anybody that did not see, I want to mention that Ivana Intuitive and I, every second Thursday, are doing what we call, are you ready for it, friends? Are you ready for it? I'm going to play a little intro for you. This is for Ivana and I. So good. It was so fun. And we did rub your belly and pat your head. That was our theme. My God, I haven't had that much fun in a really long time. It was just hysterical. So we will be back on, let me see, calendar. The 14th of September, we will be back at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, because it's, sometimes we're going to do readings, sometimes we're not going to do readings. Sometimes it's just going to be hanging out and just trying to lighten the load, right? All right, Rose, have a good night. Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, Ron. Live, can we ask questions? Absolutely. Cheyenne says, Cheyenne said, I started by responding to tags, and I really like that. I think that is a comfortable way to get acquainted within the community. I also have anxiety, so YouTube can be hard for me. Oh, you're very welcome, Nancy. Yes, so I've seen a few people doing that, responding to tags and stuff. Honestly, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand that at all. Makes absolutely no sense to me. For example, I know that you can use up to 15 hashtags, 15 tags within your description box of your video. I know that you can use up to 3 in your title. I have no idea why I'm using them. They don't mean absolutely anything to me. I don't know why anyone does use them. I just know that it's a search sort of engine or tool for people. Now, when you go to YouTube and you type in, for example, so for achieving wellness, I have dozen cats achieving wellness as a hashtag that I created. And every time I create an achieving wellness segment, I create the title with that hashtag, right? So if you go to YouTube and you type in hashtag dozen cats achieving wellness, it will take you to all of the achieving wellness segments that I've ever done. That's great. If you can remember hashtag dozen cats achieving wellness, surely to God you can remember dozen cats wellness trail. So there is a little bit of a generational mind fog happening in my brain that I don't get that. You know what I mean? But I understand how it works to the point that I can use it to benefit myself. But in response to Cheyenne's, someone puts up a video and says, and I'm going to elongate this explanation. So you all were just here, right? And you heard me say, do you guys have any suggestion? There's 10 people watching right now. I don't know if you're all in the chat, but I know that there's 10 people watching. And I asked the question, do you guys have any thoughts, feelings, suggestions on, do I go live? Do I do this? Do I do that? Whatever. And 2 people said stuff. I can't get people to leave comments. I say every day on my videos, make sure you leave a comment. And I can't get them to leave, comments. So I don't know how I would even go about doing that. Like, I'm doing this video and I'm putting it out there, and now Cheyenne's going to respond to my video and say that this is a VR to respond to Kelly's video, right? This to me is kind of like the hashtags. It's a mind block that I have in terms of, I don't know how to get people to respond to it, but I understand the premise of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I did that challenge. Oh my gosh, so long ago now. I don't remember what the heck the challenge was. Johnny Tito's Apprentice started it like last year or something, and I did that. So if you went to that hashtag, all of those channels were on it. But I don't even know that people know about that. I don't even know that people use it. Right? Yes, Cheyenne needs to, and she's coming out of her shell. She's working on it, and I love that. She's going to come out of her shell and blow us all out of the water. I watched your video the other day. In a moment of, you have to understand, I haven't slept in I think from Thursday till Sunday, I had 6 hours sleep. Because my poor Rosie, she wasn't feeling well, friends, at all. So I was basically up all night with her because she was going to the washroom, without getting into graphic details. She was going to the washroom about every 2 hours. And so I had to stay up with her, and you couldn't leave her in her crate or sleeping in the bedroom. So someone had to watch her. I was a hot mess. So. Yeah, so when you go to watch a show, Fleck, like any channel, doesn't matter what it is, just pick someone that you watch. And when you look at the video description, you should see hashtags that are highlighted in blue. And if you click on that hashtag, it takes you to whatever that hashtag is. So if it's me using that same dozen cats achieving wellness analogy, if you click on that as the hashtag, it will take you to it's like going to my playlist without having to go to my channel and click on the playlist and type in the name or look for it. And then, you know what I mean? It's just like a shorter sort of way. And it is a way for you to search, but it doesn't help your channel in the search or in the algorithm for search, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So Instagram uses hashtags all the time, right? You can create a hashtag, you put it over there, it's on YouTube, whatever, but it doesn't help your channel unless they look for that specific hashtag, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, 100%. Lots of people watch on their TV and can't comment. Yep. Ron says he doesn't use it. Bims also love it when you have guesses. I don't know very many shows to watch. Blessings. Nancy, you were right about that. And it says, I agree that comments mean so much when you create. It is very fulfilling when you get a response. Listen, I have some people that follow me every single day and have done since the day that they have found me or that I started. And I have one person in particular who almost every single day says, good morning. And literally the first person that says good morning to me, before my family, before my husband. And you get to count on it, right? You get to count on it. It's lovely. It's lovely. And then there's those people that you don't hear from very often that all of a sudden will pop in and say, like, I so needed to hear that today. And I love that. Yes, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that, Nancy. It's also just nice to know that that was resonating with you resonated with them as well, right? It's nice to know. So again, going back to the question, like, there's a lot of people that'll say, what do you guys want to do? What do you want the next show about? And I could have 58 ideas, or I could say it and I don't get any feedback. So I come up with something and I want it to be helpful and informative. I mean, because I'll always have like 30 flipping ideas going on in this big old brain of mine. And I do the show and I hope that it's helpful, right? I hope that it resonates. I hope that you guys find it informative or whatever the case may be. And like, you just don't know. Like I don't work for the entertainment industry. I'm just Kelly. You know what I mean? I'm just dozen cats over here, right? So, like I did okay. Here's in my mind, this is a perfect example. Okay. So I see a lot of videos doing walkthroughs and flip throughs on decks. I personally don't understand it at all. Don't understand that at all. No shade. No shade. If I have been looking to buy a deck and I look it up on YouTube and there it is, because there's no pictures of it, I can see someone do it and I appreciate it for that reason. But if that's all that you do, I don't really get that, but I don't have to. I still appreciate the work that is involved in doing a video, right? So lots of people make comments about my decks, ask me questions about certain decks that I use, or, say that they like this deck, or I have, different cards, or whatever the case may be. So I go, here you go. Here's a few of my favorite things. And hardly anybody has even said anything. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to make anyone feel bad. I'm just saying, in terms of what Nancy said about the comments, it really does help the content creator to let them know that they are going in the right direction, right? It helps them to know that what you're putting out is resonating or not, because most of us are just, we're just regular everyday people. I don't necessarily have my pulse on the community. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, see, if I watch something 9 times out of 10, if I'm in a show and I'm communicating with you guys, and you guys can tell, like, once you get to know me, you'll be able to tell, because if I'm on my phone, chances are I'm not saying like, hi Nancy, your Crohn's intuition. I'll say, hi Nancy, right? If I'm chatting on my phone, and I don't like to chat on my phone, so it's rare that I will do it. I might pop in and say, hi friends, just popping in for a few minutes, and then I leave. If I'm chatting in the show, I'm on my computer. I'm back here where I'm like, and I can type like a mad girl. I'm old school and I'm very set in my ways. So I like to do things the way I like to do them, that, make it easy for me. So I rarely watch YouTube on my TV because I want to be involved. I want to be a part of the chat, and I can't be a part of the chat like that. And if I had to watch it on my phone and watch it on the TV and that's too many working parts. I'm not an octopus. I can't do that. I would be so distracted, friends. I would be so distracted. And Nancy, to that part about appreciate when we talk to people, I feel like some of my best shows In terms of like how I feel when I'm done, not in terms of like views or whatever, are the shows that have happened where there's either been like no plan or no format and it just kind of, takes on a life of its own, or we've done the show and the show is over. Like now it's over, and people are just, continuing to conversate, and we sort of like just navigate it together. And I think it's very organic and very natural that way. And it reminds me of when I first started, and it reminds me of just, having a space that's open, that people just share whatever they want to share. And I love that. Oh, 100%, Cheyenne. 100%. Yeah. I've had things where, someone has commented and I found it like 4 months later. Legit. Or they'll delete them altogether. So if you put a comment and then I put a comment and then you reply to it or whatever, they'll delete you, or they'll hold you, or they'll put you in a different spot, and then 4 or 5 months later you'll find them. Yeah, I had that happen to me not that long ago, actually, where I actually sent YouTube, like I chatted with the YouTube rep and just said, like, what is the dealio? Why do you keep doing this? No, 100%, Nancy. That's exactly what I meant. This is the moment that I truly appreciate these moments. I mean, coming from a personal perspective, dozen cats aside, this is Kelly talking. Because I don't leave my home, I don't have a lot of contact with the outside world, and so this is like just me and a bunch of my friends kind of chilling out and having a conflab, and I love it. I love that I'm just a part of the whole situation. Do you know what I mean? I love that. I live for it, really. Oh, thank you, Kathy. You're very kind. I do appreciate that. So I have a couple of ideas, friends, coming up. So I did this because it was important. I put out a video. I think it drops on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. So it's part 2 of a few of my favorite decks. So this is the tarot version that's going to pop out on Tuesday, I think, is when I put it up for. And then well, I don't know. Let me just see. So past life readings with Nancy Jean. I'm looking forward to that. And on we have an Achieving Wellness coming out, I'm calling it Boosting Your Self-Esteem. And the thumbnail that I found, I thought was really, really, it really speaks to where I'm coming from. So in the thumbnail, it's a kitty cat looking at her reflection, and the reflection. So that's coming up. And we're going to be doing some numerology stuff, because numerology really ties into tarot. So can't quite figure out if I'm going to do that live or if I'm going to do that pre-recorded, but I'll figure that out. All right, so there's 5 of us left. Anybody else got anything that they want to say or that they want to talk about? They want to mention? My husband's on vacation this week. Yay! Oh, Kathy, you're all the way in the UK. I didn't know that, love. My goodness. It's like the middle of the night over there. Blessings. That's very sweet of you. Look at my little Charlotte sitting there at the door. Can you guys see her? Charlotte. 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 Yep. That's a cat for you. Charlotte. Charlotte. Thank you. No, she's like, whatever. I'm not even responding, Mummy. I'm on bug watch. Oh, thank you, Nancy. Hopefully you still like me after the 3 videos. No, I have to be honest. There was a reason why I did these videos tonight. Number one, I have been feeling some sort of way for a little while. And I felt like I needed to say how I felt. And I thought that I sort of needed to just let it go out into the universe, if that makes sense. It was cathartic for me in a way, and I hope that it allows me to put some of the negativity behind me. This was sort of like my release, if it were, or as it were. I want to put the negativity behind me and just, buckle down and get back to work again. I don't want, I don't like working like with messy. Do you know what I mean? I don't like having like unfinished business. And right now I just sort of feel like I'm inundated with unfinished business, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm trying really, really hard to, put my boundaries up, check in with myself and see how I feel, and progress accordingly. And in the last couple of days, in the last couple of weeks, I have had, unfortunately, disagreements with some people, and I have tried to, say how I feel. Was not taken lightly and was not taken kindly, and they didn't appreciate it, and that caused some hard feelings. And I've just been trying to navigate that space, and the result of that was me feeling hurt. I'm sure that they felt hurt, but I can't speak for them. I can only speak for myself. I felt overwhelmed. I felt anxious. And really just sort of left out, like don't know where I fit in kind of idea. And so this was my way of expressing my story and myself, and just sort of putting all that out there. If you understand what I'm trying to say. Oh, thank you, Cheyenne. Hi, Linda. Welcome back, my friend. Yes, Ron, Canadian readers come together. Listen, there's nothing wrong with taking meds for your anxiety if that's what works for you. There's no shade or blame or judgment from me. There are many a times where I think that, that I've made my road a lot more challenging because I did not do that. It's a very individual things. And I want to say that when it comes to anxiety, this is just my personal opinion, for entertainment purposes only. I feel that each person's anxiety, although our symptoms can be very similar, I think that your journey with anxiety can be very, very unique and very individual. And I think the hardest thing for me in my journey with anxiety is that many times I would say, whether out loud or to myself, that I don't really understand this. I don't know how I'm supposed to explain it to someone else so that they feel better about dealing with me, or they feel better about supporting me, or they feel better about just, being in the same space as me. I don't know why I react the way that I do. I don't know why I feel the way that I do. Do you know what I mean? I don't get it either. Oh, thank you, Philak. I appreciate you, my friend. Yeah, no, Cheyenne, I totally agree with you and about that. I mean, it literally, I've said this many times. I will continue to say it until the day that nobody wants to hear it anymore. I wear a badge on, over my heart about being a chatter. I was a chatter first. I will always be a chatter. The chat's where it's at, is only to say, you guys are the thing that keeps this going, right? You guys are the energy that keeps this machine moving in the right direction. And without you, this experience, well, first of all, it wouldn't exist because I would be literally talking to myself. And I've done enough of that. Thank you. But in all seriousness, the chat's where it's happening in real time is what I'm trying to say. You guys gave me my life back, and through the love and the kindness and the support and the encouragement and the inspiration. And I say, oftentimes, don't ever forget that you're a powerful force in that chat. No matter what chat you're in, no matter what channel you're on, you just saying hi to someone and being so welcoming can literally change their life. So don't ever stop doing that. Don't discount the power that you have in that chat. Kathy says, disagreements can be overwhelming at the best of times, but when you suffer anxiety, it's a whole other level. I feel you. I'm sorry you've been experiencing this. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, it's a lot. If you're a people pleaser, if you have tendencies to self-sabotage or negative self-talk or any of those kind of things, it can be a whole other situation when you get into a disagreement with somebody, because you get in the disagreement, and then the real disagreeableness happens after that, when you take yourself out back and beat yourself up because of what you did, what you said, how you looked, what they said, what you thought they were going to say, like that. It's so much. And I have to be honest that I try to remove myself and just take a step back and go, like, it's just negativity. And again, I can't. Like, I just can't. I can't do it. I won't do it. I can't allow myself. And so for me, and I'm not saying that this makes me different. I'm just saying for me personally, I can't go into that negative space because I understand how slippery that slope is. That's like, and I guess a way for me to explain that further or to highlight that further, it's like, in my mind, how I feel about it is like, it's like asking a gambler to go into a casino and pretend that they're in, Disney World. It's not really fair. You know what I mean? Because now that gambler is not thinking about the thing that they're thinking that they should be thinking about. They're only thinking about, how do I keep myself strong in this moment so that I don't give in to that temptation. Because what people don't understand is that, like, the anxiety is real, and it is never going to go away. I am never going to be cured, right? I can cope and I can manage, and it may not show its head for 30 friggin' years, but it will never go away. And the moment that I allow myself to think, well, I'm cured, boom, that's when it turns around and smacks you upside the head. Now, that may not be even the truth, but that's what I tell myself. So I am always working hard to keep it where it needs to be kept, so it doesn't continue to hijack my life. It doesn't, and I don't operate from a place of fear. Oh, Kathy, you are preaching to the choir, girlfriend. I am so that person. I did a show with someone. Well, 4 people were a guest. That's not true. 3 people were a guest, and myself. That would make the 4 of us. And we did that show here on this channel. And we simulcast it to other channels. And I went to that other person's channel and I read a comment that someone wrote. And after all of the positive comments that I read, I got to that comment and it near broke my heart. That person said, well, wasn't really a collaboration per se, because that cat lady seemed to dominate the whole show. That broke my heart. Because it was my show. It was my idea. I brought the people together. And because I guess that person didn't understand that, or maybe they dropped in the middle, that they didn't know that they have this bad or negative image of me, that I'm, like I'm like, bossy or controlling, and I'm trying to take it over. And I was like, that's so hard to navigate that. It's hard to know whether I should respond to that. It's hard not to take that criticism seriously. Right? Night, Nancy. Oh, I mean, I'm a total wreck sometimes, but in these instances, I want to say that you know when you're okay. You know when you're right. You know when you're wrong. You know when you're coming from a place of reaction or not. At least that's my experience. I think that we truly, if we really look at a situation, we know if we overreacted, or if you've been feeling something for like a couple of weeks and you just can't shake it, no matter how hard you try, no matter how many times you try to look at that situation, you just keep coming back to that same thing. You're not wrong. You know what I mean? At least that's my thought process. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that, Ron. And that's kind of where I'm going. Listen, I don't expect everybody to come on YouTube and share their life openly. That is not my expectation. When I go to a particular channel, I go to that channel for a specific reason, right? I don't necessarily go to that channel and expect them to share their whole life with me. I don't necessarily want to know all about their life. If the sharing of their story is relevant to why I showed up, then yeah. I'm not trying to be a superhero over here. I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, I'm like such an open book. That's just who I am, and that's part of what my channel is about. So I don't know how to do this any different. And there's many times, friends, where I leave this and think, oh my God, I said that's it, I've done it, I said too much. That time you screwed up, Kelly. You said too much. But I am who I am, and this is just the way I am. And like me, don't like me. I'm not easy to live with. My God, I am a handful, friends. But I'm a good person, and I have a kind heart, and I'm loyal. But I have my limits. I do have my limits, and I have feelings. I can admit when I'm wrong, and if I screwed up, I'm sorry. And I will apologize. I'll own it. But at the end of the day, I'm out here looking after myself first and foremost, because I have, this thing that sits over here constantly going, hey, meaning my anxiety. And that's just too risky for me. Do you know what I mean? And so maybe I react because it's fearful for me. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's okay, because I'm just trying to protect myself. And I never, I don't like confrontations. I don't ever go into anything, saying anything like in a mean way. There's no hooting and hollering or yelling and screaming. I couldn't do that. I've had it happen to me several times, and I don't like it. But I'm not a yeller, so. Oh, Cheyenne, you have no idea the things that have been said about me. I've been told that I am unkind, that I am not filled with love and light, that I am judgmental, I'm critical, and that's by another reader. I've been told that I am dangerous. I am a dangerous energy, and therefore I shouldn't have a channel. And that is from another reader. Mm-hmm. But I've also been told that I am the real deal, and that I have a kind heart, that I have a big heart. And so we'll go with that. That's all I'm saying. So, Fleck, did you just have a birthday? Well, happy birthday, my friend. Yep. I've had that too, Kathy. I actually had a friend say to me one time that, she did it in a very kind and a very respectful way. she said to me that like her nature is to be very nurturing and like sort of like a mom, if you will. And she just wanted to scoop me up and look after me, right? I was just going through my divorce. She had anxiety. And I didn't, obviously, that's not when I had anxiety, or if I did, I wasn't aware of it. And she called me over one day and sat me down and just said, like, you are so much. I'm taking on all of your stuff, and so I need to back up. I didn't cry. I didn't freak out. I didn't hate her. I actually gave her a hug, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You know, I wasn't really being a good friend because I was all in my own stuff, that I wasn't seeing her sort of, you know, trying so hard to be there for me and be supportive to me, that I didn't see that, and I felt horrible. But I didn't blame her, because she was being kind. She was still being her. She was being that loving, you know, awesome person that I always knew her to be. And she just said the truth. And some people can't handle when you share everything, because that's not them. They don't know what to do with that. Like, you've just given them everything, and they kind of look at you and go like, I got nothing. You know what I mean? So if they've said it to you in a way that was respectful, then that's awesome. If it was said to you in a way that, you know, you're an arsehole because you share too much, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? Night, Debbie. Thank you for being here, my friend. All right, I'm having one more smoke and then I'm going. Can I tell you guys, I don't know, 2 nights ago, last night, whatever, we had like a major weird storm that only lasted for like 10 minutes. But it was pouring down rain and thunder and lightning, and there was such a crack that I literally thought the tree fell down and hit the side of the house. Like, the whole house vibrated. It was brutal. Scared the crap. The dog was barking. The cats were freaking out. All right, let's go back up here. Linda says, I appreciate your honesty and openness, because some people put out a phony facade. I like honesty, forthright, and truthful. Thank you, my friend. Excuse me. Sorry. What is that they say when you sneeze, you're going to kiss a fool? Look out, honey, I'm coming. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Back up. Okay, Cheyenne says, you do have a very giving heart, and you care, and that shows, and it matters. Thank you, Cheyenne. Flex says, I don't see how that makes you a bad person. I think you're a badass. Aw. Some people, because if someone presents to you the opposite of what you do, sometimes it can be seen as like a challenge, or it just makes you feel uncomfortable, because that's you don't operate in that same space, right? I think that there is an element of openness to that. Like, if you're open to, like, take for example, I like baseball and you like tennis, right? So I say to you, come on, my friend, you come and watch a baseball game with me. And you are bored out of your mind. You're bored out of your mind. But you can see how happy I am. Doesn't that make you happy that your friend is happy? Should you not be happy for that experience, or that you shared that experience? Or should you just be like, well, I went, so there's that. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter why. It's the fact that you shared that experience with your friend because you wanted to, right? Because you care about your friend. So then you say to your friend, come and watch a tennis game with me. And the friend is like, hell no, I hate tennis. I'm not going there. That's boring. I'd rather watch the floor with my toothbrush. And you're like, ouch, that was mean. You know what I mean? You have to be open to being uncomfortable. You have to be open to experiencing new things. You have to be open to wanting to be supportive to whoever the person is that you're trying to be supportive to. Because we're not always going to walk into a situation where we're like, yep, totally done this before, totally feel good about it. You know what I mean? That's just my experience. Anyway. Moving down. Cheyenne says, Kelly, you are like the Three of Swords. People have a hard time with that, but it is the sacred heart, broken wide open in order to share their heart with the world. Yeah. Listen, Cheyenne, that's a very, very accurate statement. I once had a guy in college say to me that you're the kind of girl, you are the kind of girl that a guy either loves or hates. And I was like, what? And I have had that my whole life. I'm either a bitch or I'm the nicest person that you ever met. There doesn't really seem to be an in-between with me. And that makes people uncomfortable. Kathy says, some folk in the spiritual community can be quite toxic. In my experience, it can be disheartening. Yes. Yep. Those people need to go to another channel, right? So I guess what I'm saying is, listen, it takes two people to get into a disagreement, right? I am not a perfect person by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying that, I tried to say I felt this way about that situation, and that now I need to take a step back and put some boundaries up. And I'm just trying to navigate that space. That's all. This is not me trying to slander the person. I'm just saying that my experience has been of late that, and I don't know if it's all these weird energies that they were talking about, but it's been a lot lately, and I'm just trying to navigate that space, and I'm trying really, really hard, and I'm happy to report that it's not getting the best of me. But this was very cathartic for me tonight to do this 3-part series, which was the whole point of why I opened up my mouth in the first place and said that. Because I got to remind myself of what's important. I got to remind myself of the fact that I am just a human being, and that, I remember all the good points, and the good parts far outweigh any negative or, not so great moments. And those are the moments that keep me coming back. You all keep me coming back. You inspire me and you motivate me every single day. And that's what I need to be focused on, not that stuff, right? And so it's very cathartic for me. It was very much like a release. And so I thank you for being here and for sharing that with me. We will get there, friends. One day we will get there. Yeah, that's very true, Ron. Very true, my friend. A lot of people also suffer from the disease, myself being one of them. Sometimes I can't see the forest for the trees, right? Because you're involved. I could fix your problems, but can't fix my own. Do you know what I mean? And oftentimes when you operate from a place of fear, like I do, because of my anxiety, I don't necessarily always live in a total realistic, real sort of space. If that makes sense. And I'm not like beating myself up. I'm just stating a fact. Like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, this conversation would be very different because I lived very much in the outcome of a situation. I would go to the outcome before I even tried to think of, how it might be in the middle or even in the beginning. My fear was so present that I would, like, you would phone me up and say, hey, do you want to come over, for lunch or whatever? And I would have decided that, it's going to rain. I'm not going to like the food. I'm going to have some kind of reaction. I'm not going to like the other people that are there. Nobody's going to talk to me. Well, I smoke and people don't like smoke. And like, I would talk myself right out of it before I even talk myself into it. I was very much in the outcome. So when I would talk to people, when I would try to be honest with people about that reaction, it was very hard to explain to them why I was there. Do you know what I mean? So to them, it wasn't like I was living in reality, and I guess in truth I wasn't, but that's my reality, or at least I thought it was, You were trying to get, yeah, I get it. And so what I'm saying to you is that, when you have a disagreement with someone, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It doesn't mean that they did something even wrong. It's your reaction to that, right? And how you handle it sometimes can be good and sometimes it can be bad. And it's okay. It's okay if your reaction is good, bad, or otherwise. Do you know what I'm saying? As long as you say it with kindness and you're speaking from your own place of truth, I think it's okay. And even if you're not, and then you realize it and you try again, right? I mean, we all know how to say we're sorry. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm like literally talking this through as I'm saying it. I did a reading. Not for me, but I did a reading and it totally came out in the cards. And I was like, well, crap, that's my reading. I never posted it, by the way, but it came out in the cards. I was like, well, crap, there you go. Yes, absolutely, Linda. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Thank you, my friend. Listen, 5 o'clock to 6, 6:30 to 7:30, and from 8 to 9:48. I've been on way too much, and I'm like kind of like at this point. And I haven't eaten yet, so yes, it does. So like when you do something in a very like mechanical, almost like robotic, repetitious kind of way, you don't even realize. Like, try to explain to someone, I don't know, how you cook your favorite recipe that you've cooked for the last 30 years, that you don't read a recipe, you just do it. It just comes to you. You just, right? Or your job or whatever, you've forgotten half the stuff that you do because you just do it. It doesn't feel like you're even thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so natural or so much a part of you. I've told you guys this story 100 times. I went to my sister's house. I was reacting. I was very nervous. My dad was coming. I didn't want to be there. And I was doing, all these weird things that I wasn't even aware that I was doing them. And then my sister called me and told me that I sort of scared my nieces and they were all upset. I mean, I was heartbroken, literally, legitimately heartbroken. I was angry at her. I was, how dare you? How could you talk to me like that? I mean, I was devastated. Because I didn't even realize that I did that. Do you know what I'm saying? Once I did realize that I did that, then I was like, I mean, I knew that she wasn't trying to be mean or hurtful in any way. So once I realized, what she was really referring to, and I let it go because my hurt feelings were not really the important bit there. That was a powerful moment for me. And that's really all I'm trying to get at. Cheyenne says, what I see on the screen is a strong woman, and I really appreciate seeing your channel pop up on my feed. You're an inspiration, Kelly. Thank you, Cheyenne. I appreciate you. You're very kind. And I appreciate the fact that you, like, I feel from you that you are very true with your connections, just like Linda is, right? You say how you feel. Fleck is that way. Like most of the people that come to my channel want to be heard. They want to share. They want to be seen, and they want to be supportive of other people. I feel like we are all even though our journeys may be very different, I feel like we have all arrived at that same destination. Like we're all waiting to get on that bus to a happier, more contented sort of place, right? And we understand now how we need to get there, and that is by being supportive, being non-judgmental. I don't have to understand your life or your circumstances or why you do what you do. I don't have to understand any of that. None of that has got anything to do with me. But I can be empathetic towards you. You know what I mean? I can be empathetic towards anybody. It's a choice. And as long as you can open your heart up to do that, that's a great way to sort of start to see things that are really in front of you instead of the things that you imagine to be, you know, a block or a challenge or an obstacle or whatever. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that, Fleck. You know, I wasn't angry at the world when my mom died, and that's the funny thing about like me trying to wrap my head around my own anxiety when I was first diagnosed. I was never pissed off at the world because my mom died. My mom was suffering, and I tell you, friends, oh my God, there are moments that I remember that stand out in my mind that just are absolutely heart-wrenching to me. And I would have given anything in those moments to take that away from her. You know what I mean? To not see her like that. I remember walking into the hospital one day, and this is in the last month of her life, right? Probably in the last 2 weeks of her life. And she had declined so rapidly, like she was fine for such a long time, and then boom, she was just in total decline. And I walked into her room, and she was all hunched over, and she was sitting on the bed, and little tears were coming down her face. My mother was not a crier. And I was like, Mom, what's wrong? You know those little ice cream cups that they give you in the hospital? She tried to pull that little lid off, and she couldn't do it. She didn't have the strength to pull the cardboard lid off of the ice cream. To see my mom, you know, such a strong, capable woman sitting there in that state, it's just absolutely heart-wrenching. Truly. I never wanted her to give up the fight. I never wanted her to quit. But I never wanted her to suffer. And she was getting to the point where she was suffering so very much. And so I was never pissed off at the world. I was pissed off at people. And unfortunately, I continued to be pissed off at people. And I have let most of that go. Most of it. That is a work very much in progress. But yeah. It's very hard to watch someone that you love decline in front of your eyes. It's just a heartbreaking experience. Yeah, I remember that, Linda. That was it was so quick. You know, and that's another thing, you know. I mean, I don't think that it matters whether they're, you know, they're diagnosed with this, sickness, and then boom, they're gone, in a very quick way. Or, it's this long drawn out battle. I mean, is there a good way? Suffering is suffering, pain is pain, sickness is sickness, illness is illness. It affects everybody. It affects everyone differently, but it affects everyone. And it's really, really hard to navigate, It's really hard to navigate. It's really hard to navigate. When you just want the absolute best for people, but you don't know what that is, and you're trying to be as hopeful and possible or positive as you can be to them. There are many times, and I've said this before on this channel, that there was many times during that last little while that I found like we were doing ourselves, in hindsight, I felt like we might have done ourselves a disservice, because my mother, we went from her example. She never wanted to speak about it. She never wanted to acknowledge it. She was not going to die. She was not going to lose this battle. And so we adopted that policy. We didn't talk about it. We didn't acknowledge it. It was the proverbial elephant in the room. And she would, we would do the whole fist pump, literally. I believe because she didn't want to give up. And I respect that. I get it. But in hindsight, it's like, even though we knew what was happening and we could see it happening in front of us, we filled ourselves with some kind of false hope. And I think that you have that hope. That's still something that I'm still trying to wrestle with, trying to, break that down in a way that I can actually understand that. But I feel in hindsight that we might have done ourselves a disservice, because we weren't being realistic with ourselves. We had all of this time to say things, whether to each other, to ourselves, to her, to whatever. And we did not, because we didn't want to upset her, because we didn't want to have her think that we didn't believe, right? So it was such a mind-numbing sort of experience in that way, that I don't know how you walk out of that. No matter who you are, no matter what loss you have suffered, I don't know how you walk away from that and don't think, I should have done this, I should have said that, I wish I had have done this, I wish I had have said that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you don't do that. What I do know, though, on this side of it, is that you have to give yourself permission to know that you did and said whatever you felt you needed to do and say, and what you were capable of doing and saying in that moment, and to continue to go backwards and say, well, if I had have only done this, if I had have only said that everything then would be different. It's such a horrible thing to do to yourself. I mean, I think it's fairly human, but it's such a hard road to navigate back from that. There's so much blame and criticism and just heartache that you're placing, like this whole thing is your fault. And if Tuesday afternoon at 3 you had a went instead of Tuesday afternoon at 4, everything would be different. we know that that's not real or true, but somehow we take on that responsibility. And it just can be so detrimental to your heart and your overall well-being. And I've tried really hard to get out of that place, like to get out of that spot. I still have a little bit of work to do, but I'm better with that spot than I am with the people. One person, actually, just one. Flex says I didn't know where to put my feelings. Cheyenne says it's hard. Grief it's the worst. Linda says we all deal with it in our own way. Hugs. Flex says I gave my kids a scare, not on purpose, of course. Cheyenne says I have lost a child and thought, oh my God, Cheyenne, I'm so sorry. I thought it would destroy me. It nearly did. It's too hard. Thank you for speaking on grief. I'm sure many of us right here with you needing to hear this. I'm so sorry, Cheyenne. Thank you for sharing that. Linda says I struggle with the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And Linda says I work on letting it go every time it pops up. Bim says I lost my mother so early in my life and sometimes feel guilty when I don't have very many memories. That's a very real thing for sure. Cheyenne, I will say to you this, that I'm not asking you to share your story with us because that's a personal story. But I do want to say to you that I have two aunts who have both lost their firstborn children. They took their own lives. I have never seen like a family, and I'm not talking about, just like I'm talking about our whole entire family in such physical heartache before. Never seen anything like that in my life, and I hope to God I never see anything like that again. It has affected my whole entire family in a way that is hard to actually put into words. I hope that you have a good family, a good support system around you, and I hope that, that you feel supported by them. I have one aunt who feels one way and another aunt who feels the opposite way, and that makes it very challenging for the family to be supportive. I don't know how they feel in terms of if we have been supportive, but I know that we all feel like we have done everything that we can do to be supportive of them, because each of us have also suffered that loss. Do you know what I mean? In our own way. But collectively we can heal, and we can also, remember, and we can share our thoughts and our feelings. I mean, we have that common thread, and when you think about loss and grief, more times than not, it takes people apart instead of brings them together, which is really sad. And I think that if we just allowed ourselves to be a little more open and a little more supportive, a little more empathetic and compassionate towards others, that we could use our families, our support systems, and how much better off would we all be, if we thought that that person understood, if we felt like that person heard what we said, if we felt acknowledged, and so forth, right? That hasn't been necessarily my experience, so I hope for your sake, Cheyenne, that you had, a good support system around you to help you navigate that journey. Oh, good night, Kathy. Sorry, I'm looking right at your comment and I didn't even notice it. I'm so sorry. Good night, my friend. Thank you for being here. Many blessings to you. Good grief, 3 a.m. Poor thing. Bim says, people tell me that my mother loved and was loved by everyone, but I don't really remember. That's gotta hurt a lot, Bims, for sure. And I'm sure that that opens up many different, things within you that could create, a lot of hostility towards yourself, a lot of blame towards yourself. And you can't take ownership of that. That's not something that you had any control over, right? And you've got to know, I'm sure that you do know, that just because you feel like you don't have I remember that Tuesday, remember when we all went to that restaurant, you might not have that story, but that doesn't take away, your connection to your mom or your mom's connection to you. It doesn't in any way diminish, the love that you had for each other. That was a situation that you were like a product of the environment. That wasn't something that you had any control over. Do you know what I mean? Oh, that's so sweet, Bims. Blessings. See that? See, now you said that, Bims, and I said that, and then you seen the blue, or the person that you're with, seen the little girl, seen the blue star. So there you go. That's your mama. We are grateful for you, Cheyenne. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Well, in that moment that you're in right now, Bims, like Linda's saying, I mean, it sounds very much like, a mom and daughter kind of moment. And so you're sharing that moment with that 4-year-old. That's mimicking a moment that you might have spent with your mom. That's no accident that that blue star is up there on the ceiling, that she saw that. I think that's beautiful. I don't know why I'm like picking up on your energy, Bims, right now, and I feel like strongly. I feel like that little girl is wearing like sort of like a pink pair of pajamas. And I feel like she's, I don't know if you were like reading her a book or she's just sort of like, sort of like snuggled up into your side. I feel like she has like dark brown hair, and it's kind of long, but not really, like not overly long, but it's kind of long. And I just see her sort of looking up at you and just sort of smiling at you. With that kind of like innocence that only a child can have. I don't know why I'm picking up that, but that's what I'm picking up. Aw, thanks, Ron. Your mother had long, but not super long. Cool. All right, friends. I love you very much. I really, really do. I thank all of you for being a part of tonight. It's been a long night, and I thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I've got to go and get something to eat, and check on my husband and check on my baby girl, Rosie. Make sure that she's doing okay. Apparently, she didn't eat all of her dinner, but that's nothing new. She has a bit of a fuss budget when it comes to her food. I don't know why. And then when she does want to eat, she'll literally pick up her dish and start carrying it around the room, which is just hysterical in itself. But anyway, so want to check in on her and make sure that she's doing okay. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me. Thank you for sharing and for being so supportive to each other and everyone. This space is amazing, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for making it work. I'm going to say goodnight now, and I will see you again when we see each other next. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up and that bell notification so you don't miss anything. All right, you guys have a good night, and thank you again for being a part of my journey. Mwah! Many blessings.